Welcome everyone to the On Purpose show, where we unite compassionate healthcare providers and also empower the community to find the precise healthcare options they need for the best possible outcomes. Welcome everyone. Thank you again for being here.
Welcome everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
As you know, my name is Alyssa, and I am the host of the On Purpose show, and my co-host, Martha Aguilar, is here today, and thank you for being here, Martha.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Alyssa, for bringing up the energy for this show. I am actually really excited for this call because for the first time, this call, we're surrounded by practitioners and amazing, incredible people that are not based in Washington.
Yep.
And I feel a little less alone because I'm part of Washington. So I'm coming from the amazing state of New Jersey, Jersey girl born and raised. And I'm so excited to introduce everyone in this call to everyone. How does that sound?
Amazing.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again, everyone, for being here. I'm going to start off with the one and only Dr. Dr. Matthew Ormond. Dr. Matt is a highly qualified healthcare professional holding a doctorate of chiropractic and a national board certification in acupuncture, kinesiology, sports medicine, and science-based nutrition. With an impressive track record of over 85,000 patient visits, he specializes in providing rapid and natural relief for a wide range of health issues. Dr. Matt's holistic approach combines chiropractic, kinesiology, Eastern medicine, and science-based nutrition, and his mission is to alleviate human suffering by helping individuals understand and achieve optimal health, ultimately living a life free from fear. Dr. Matt, what is going on and what is a fun fact about yourself that you would like to share with the group?
Awesome. Martha, thank you. Thank you for that intro. I appreciate it. It's so lovely to be with you all. Excited to hear and learn about all of you. A fun fact about me is I am a father of 6 kids. My wife and my fifth child had a birthday on Monday. They share a birthday on October 2nd. Fun fact.
Oh, that's cool.
That is awesome. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing that fun fact, Dr. Matt. So do you want to say something, Alyssa?
Nope, I was just going to say happy birthday to your wife and son.
All right.
Yes, it's awesome. And I have a lot of family members who are also October 2nd, which is so awesome. I feel like I know so many people. So that is amazing. Next, we have Xenia Economidou. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right?
That was perfect, Martha. Thank you.
Yes. Fun fact, which I'll later get into and I'll share with you, but I have pride in pronouncing that right. So Xenia, welcome. Xenia began her career as an engineer specializing in information security, but later transitioned into neuroscience. She now utilizes hypnosis, particularly rapid transformational therapy, RTT, to help people tap into their subconscious minds and address fears, addictions, past trauma, and daily obstacles hindering personal growth. With a global reach, she works with an international clientele to facilitate profound transformations and empower individuals to lead lives they cherish. Welcome, Xenia. What is a fun fact about yourself?
Oh my God, Martha, thank you so much for the introduction. Nice to be with everyone. And a fun fact would be that I'm part of so many different groups that are US based, that I can finally embrace my night owl part, and so I can join all the evening calls, and I have a very good reason not to be part of the 5 a.m. club.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I want to share that I used to take care of a really wonderful family that was, the dad's side was from Cyprus. So that is where Xenia is coming from, Cyprus. And I didn't mention Dr. Matt is coming from the great state of California as well. So again, international, this call is we have people from everywhere. So this is really awesome. And thank you, Xenia, for your fun fact. Next, we have Sandra Biskind. Sandra brings 4 decades of spiritual mentorship and business success to her transformative talks, offering participants an experiential journey that impacts them emotionally, physically, and mentally. Her expertise delves into the realm of the unconscious mind and the quantum aspects of healing and reversing aging using light and energy patches. Praised by Jack Canfield, he says, run, don't walk, to one of her events. Sandra, you're coming from the great state of California as well. What is a fun fact about yourself?
Oh, let me mute you.
Let's unmute.
Got it?
Yes.
So I am coming from Australia originally, lived in New Zealand for 15 years, married an American man, been here for 12, and in 2017, both Daniel and I were knighted in the Order of St. John for the work we do in the world to help end suffering.
Wow, that's why you're called Dame.
I'm actually Dame Sandra Biskind.
Very beautiful. Yeah, so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Sandra, and welcome. Next, we have Cindy Starke coming from the great state of Georgia. Dr. Cindy Starke is a dynamic figure who inspires audiences to reassess their choices in various life aspects, urging them to challenge their own potential and unearth their inner champions. With a background as an award-winning author, physician, entrepreneur, and Ironman triathlete, she has motivated countless individuals to become the best versions of themselves. Dr. Starke challenged herself and was awarded the prestigious Woodruff Scholarship at Emory University and earned both an MD and PhD in molecular genetics, qualifying her with a unique perspective in healthcare, while her passion for mentoring and her signature energetic and honest speaking style set her apart as a compelling speaker and trainer. Welcome, Cindy. It's nice to see your beautiful face again after a couple weeks ago, sharing the same space with you. What is a fun fact about yourself?
Oh, unmute. If we can get you unmuted here.
Okay. Is it okay if I unmute myself? I wasn't sure. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I was calling Alyssa right before I came here because it was the time for me to have a body work, like this really intense, very, very intense massage session right before I came to you. And I had mascara all up underneath my eyes. And I said, and was my camera going to have to be on? Because I just really feel like I just did not know she was going to do quite this much to my face. And I said to myself, you know what? Anyone who's in the healing space realizes that the healer needs healing too. And so I'm going to come as I am.
Absolutely.
It couldn't look more beautiful.
We're so glad you're here, Cindy.
I agree.
Thank you.
That is definitely a fun fact. And thank you so much for sharing. And before we continue on with the show, I want to share Alyssa's story. It is 2014 and she weighs just 93 pounds and can hardly get out of bed with no real solutions from doctors. One thing for sure was her determination to not give up and to begin searching for answers. Her discovery of functional medicine became a passion for helping others avoid and eliminate pain. In 2016, she accomplished functional nutrition school and 2 years later started her health coaching business. A year later, she watched her father go from being very active and fit to sedentary with major muscle atrophy from debilitating sciatic pain. She was introduced to soft wave therapy, an exciting breakthrough option in the field of regenerative medicine. After becoming a certified soft wave technician and treating her father he was pain-free. And since then, many others have had similar outcomes and have said that they have gotten their lives back. This is our host, Alyssa Hargan.
Thank you all. I appreciate that, Martha. Thank you so much for reading all those beautiful introductions. It was fun to learn more about all of you. I think, Dr. Matt, are you actually in California or are you in Arizona now?
So we currently live in Arizona. So I'm in Arizona today.
Okay.
But I have a practice in Southern California. So actually I head out there this evening.
Oh, do you really?
This weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Xenia, what time is it where you are?
So now it's 10:42 p.m. We're 10 hours ahead of Pacific.
Wow. Okay. Late night for you.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening, your late evening to be here. I very much appreciate it.
Oh, it's a great pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and get started, Martha. Let's see. Let's start with Dr. Matt again. And I just have...
Hold on. This is my fault. I didn't ask Miss Alyssa Hargan what is her fun fact that she would like to share today.
Well, I do have a fun fact. I have a new nephew who was just born yesterday.
Cool.
He's so handsome and I can't wait to meet him. Haven't had a chance to go meet him as they were just coming home from the hospital last night. But we'll get to do that hopefully this week or this weekend. So thank you, Martha.
Little angel. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Dr. Matt, and I know you have a background and you currently have your chiropractic practice and you're doing both the educational side with the health and nutrition. First of all, what do you see more patients in, or is it kind of, do you split your time 50-50 between that? What's that look like right now?
Yeah, thank you. And congratulations. Is this your first time being an aunt? First nephew?
No, this is number 4.
Okay. Fantastic.
Thank you.
None less miraculous, I guess, really.
Absolutely.
Every one of them's a miracle.
Yeah.
So beautiful question. So really, it was during COVID that I really saw, like, I've owned my own practice since 2008 and love my practice, love everybody I've had the privilege of working on. During the COVID pandemic, I saw a need, and maybe this speaks into the choir here, that we just didn't know a lot about health. And what we don't know was causing terror around the world. And there were simple principles, really simple principles that when applied contribute to our health and our wellness. And health and wellness just isn't about the body. It's about our social, our familial, vocational, financial, spiritual. Like there's so much more in that wheel of health. And so from that point on, I've started to do more virtual. And so my practice currently, I'm about 60-40. About 40% of my patients and clients are in the virtual space, 60% are in person. So I practice here in Arizona, and then I have a practice in Huntington Beach, California, where I take care of those patients. And I've written, just trying to duplicate and multiply myself, so to speak, is I've written some courses. So I've written a course on how to lower blood pressure naturally, and which has been successful, and it's been a beautiful course. Currently, I'm engaged in a course around longevity and just teaching principles around longevity, using some markers, blood work, urinalysis, things like that. And I have a course right now in the works, speaking into the physiology of parenting. And I'm not claiming to be a perfect parent, but a unique perspective on parenting is understanding the nervous system and just the physiology. If we can parent at net neutral without putting a charge into our children, their brains, their nervous systems are more open to listening and to receiving that information.
Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I hear you on, how COVID was a huge opportunity for many people to, do some things that they necessarily hadn't necessarily thought of doing, but it kind of forced them and also gave them the opportunity to do some things that they had been wanting to do. So that kind of sounds like that opened the doors for you there. And so what, with this new parenting course, like what drove you to develop that, to start teaching that?
Well, and I'll back up one step. One of my favorite courses that I've created right now is for teenagers.
Yeah.
And it's for teenagers to help them achieve goals, maintain balance while they're achieving goals. And I see, again, all sorts of landmines or pitfalls that we fall into, or these kids especially fall into. And so I have having my own 6 children and being involved with families, I see, well, let me back up. Living in Southern California, we have a big family. And in Southern California, we we stick out like a sore thumb. And we got these questions all the time. Are these all your kids? And like, yeah, they sure are. And it was almost like they felt sorry for us. And we would quickly change that intention. Like, no. This is our greatest joy. Like the family, these children, my wife, are the source of my greatest joy. And so what I see out there is the burden of parenthood. And when we're, pushing against and with friction, it's hard to find joy. And it creates health problems, and it has a ripple effect throughout. These children feel it as well. And so if I can, my mission is to be part of the solution to help relieve human suffering. So if I can help these parents find the joy in parenting, if I can help them, ultimately, and forgive me for being a little bit long-winded, but ultimately, these relationships that we have are here for us. There's a mirror in every relationship. And so our children are one of the most dynamic mirrors that we could ever look into if we dare. And they will teach us so much if we're open to learning. And so being open to looking into the mirror of these beautiful children and seeing the things that you might not love about yourself is what that mirror will reflect. It also reflects things that you do love about yourself. And so teaching that principle of how to neutralize your nervous system and how to learn and grow together, because that's ultimately what this family unit is about. And a strong family equals a strong community. A strong community is a strong state. A strong state is a strong nation. And across the world, we can strengthen this world and heal this world through families.
Wow, that's really cool. And I love that you are taking on that challenge, not only to show the world what a joy, parenting can be, and, further your, just sharing your mission of, your journey with being a parent and how much they have taught you. It sounds like you have learned a lot from being a parent. Am I hearing you correctly?
Still learning every day, still learning.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's something that you wouldn't mind sharing with us that, that comes into mind right now that you have learned just from being a parent?
Oh, beautiful. Well, I'll take you back to, so I was in chiropractic school, and we had 2 children at that point. My oldest may have been 18 months. My next was 6 or so months old. And I walked into the room, and I don't remember what they were doing, but I walked in and they were doing something like making a big mess. And my brain just triggered into saying some words that my father would say to me when I was a kid, like angry words. And I heard myself saying it, but I couldn't stop it. It just felt like verbal vomit coming out. And I know how I felt as a kid receiving that. And I had a beautiful father and beautiful mother, but we are perfectly imperfect, and they did the best they could. But these things were programmed in my brain, my nervous system. And so in that moment, seeing the fear that was on their face, from that moment, I didn't know these techniques or how to get there other than just like almost physically tearing that out of my mind. Like, I won't do that ever again. And so that opened me up to just looking within myself and looking within my childhood, what wounds still remain open. And I've come to find, when my reaction doesn't match the stimulus on the outside, if my reaction is over that stimulus, then there's charges inside of me that must be worked out before I go out and make any correction or any guidance out towards my children. And so there's been countless moments where my reaction is, oops, that's a shoe on the ground. I shouldn't be this upset. And but I've learned to check myself. And so, being sensitive to that. And I find, I've become very, very philosophic about pain. I think pain is very instructive. We get a rock in our shoe. That pain is there for a very specific purpose and serves that purpose until we get the rock out of our shoe, and the pain disappears once that rock is gone. I use emotion because it can be a form of suffering. Other emotions are a form of inspiration. But when I have a negative emotion, not a good or bad, but a negative emotion, it gives me insight. I'm like, well, okay, frustration. What do you have to say to me now? Well, if you could show me a gift, what would it be? And so keeping that nervous system net neutral, and then we get to benefit physiologically. No longer is that war raging within us, and we can have the benefit of a mind, body, spirit that's aligned. In that space is where physiology now behaves and is governed properly by these laws. And so that's kind of the sequence, my thought pattern.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'll follow up. We'll come back around and I'll follow up with another question, but I appreciate you taking the time to share all that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Definitely can resonate with the, what we get triggered in other people, or what other people trigger in us is definitely, kind of revealing to us what we need to work on, and it mirrors back to us our deeper wounds. So thank you. Sandra.
Yes.
So good to see you here today. I would
Such amazing people.
Yeah.
Matt, every single thing you said, absolutely fantastic. And I know from the looks on everybody's faces that I think we can mirror. Our work is very similar, and we have that same mission and purpose to help end suffering. And so I was captivated by every word. And I want to say that as a man, you're probably one in a million.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Received.
I would love to hear more about how you got into doing, first of all, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you start, with the spiritual, being a mentor there, did that kind of come before you getting into the LifeWave patches, or were they about the same time?
Decades before. Yeah, when I was 3, I had this beautiful being appeared to me, and he told me his name was Jesus. And he said, you are a child of God, and you are love, and you are here to make sure that everybody else knows that that is who they are. And so that was 3. It was kind of this, okay, I mean, what a 3-year-old, what am I doing? But anyway, at the age of 4, I told my mum I was here to work for God. And so that really, as an adult, started to translate into, well, I really am here to help end suffering. And people have forgotten that they are love, because they are all suffering mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, psychologically. There isn't one human being on the planet that is not suffering on some level. And so for the last 45 years, I have been working with people. I've obviously, I was Jack Canfield's spiritual mentor and coach for 7 years, and all of his students. And so I've been working with a lot of really powerful people who a lot of people would say to me, yeah, but hang on, they do all of this amazing work in the world. They've got their act together. And I said, listen, every single person on the planet has unconscious programs, because we are run by our unconscious mind 95% of the time. And that means we don't even know why we're being triggered. I love the way you use that word, Matt, that we are triggered over and over and over again. So I created a process called the quantum neutrality process. There's that word again, Matt, neutrality.
Yes.
Because for me, obviously, having had that beginning as a child, my mission and purpose at that stage was enlightenment. All I wanted to do was live as an enlightened being. So I spent millions of dollars and decades sitting with enlightened masters all over the world in order to change my brain state, to change the way my body worked, and to become neutral, because neutrality is another word for enlightenment, right? Mm. When you're no longer triggered and you are strong to any situation, you don't react. And it's the reactions and the knee-jerk reactions that we have to everything, because we have an unconscious program that, brings about World War III with everybody, our family, our friends, everyone, right? Mm-hmm. So ending suffering for me was about being able to, as a medium, a spiritual medium and channel, being able to go in for people and discover their core event, emotion, and decision that is sabotaging their life, any area of their life. And I do that by I'm actually given either a past life where an event happened and they made a decision, or I'm told about their ancestors, mothers, fathers, and beyond, where they had events that triggered them, and also all forms of conditioning from birth to where they are now. So it can come from everywhere, right? And anywhere and all at once, and it often does. So what I found is that on a quantum level, I can neutralize and delete the trauma from wherever it came from, and then go in, and it's easier to neutralize and delete the trauma and the weakness in the system in this moment. And so people are now free to be neutral and are no longer triggered. And so one of the things that I've realized is that you can't love when you're in pain. You can't love when you're suffering, right? You think you can, but you're in survival mode. And so if you can imagine spending decades, literally decades, putting together systems. I've written 8 books, 4 of them are international #1 bestsellers. And I loved it when, is it Cindy? When Cindy said about living as the best version of you, because the name of my last book, which is having its 5th anniversary this year, is Codebreaker, Discover the Password to Unlock the Best Version of You. So what I'm hearing when I hear all of us is that we are very high conscious beings who have a very similar mission. And it's about us being able to show up from that very high frequency, high consciousness state in order to have people attracted to us, in order for them to trust us and know we're coming from our heart and a place of integrity, so they will allow us to work with them. And so after all those years, and then finally 4 years ago, I woke up and I was screaming in pain. My husband took me to get an MRI, and it was shown that I had 3 fully degenerated discs in my lower spine, like nothing there. And I thought, and I had arthritis on a nerve into the hip. And you all know what nerve pain is like and arthritic pain is like. So I had what I call a triple whammy. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. This is going to be a big opportunity to get neutral. And I wasn't happy. But I rang a girlfriend of mine, told her what was happening. She said, don't worry, I'm going to patch you up. And I said, you're going to what? She said, I'm going to patch you up. And I said, okay. So she put 6 patches on me. And within an hour, I was completely pain-free. And I have not had that pain since. Now, I had spent decades discovering systems to help people become pain-free, right? And then I get one little patch like this from a system, and all of a sudden I am completely pain-free. My emotional reality changed. My level of stress went to 0. Everything changed. The arthritis in my hand, for instance, when you're picking this up, I don't know about you guys, but this is my computer and I work on it most of the day. And at night, my hand would be aching like crazy. And of course, as soon as I patch up, my hand is everything about me has EMF protection just by wearing the patches. So there's all these incredible things that this reverse aging patch system does for us. And I've got bling all over mine because I'm a girl, so I like to bling mine up. But my husband and I are both in love with this scientist and biologist, rocket scientist, David Schmidt, who is a USA scientist, by the way. It took him 10 years and $4 million to bring the X39 stem cell activation. And by the way, FDA has just told us we are not allowed to use the word stem cell now because they consider stem cells as a drug. This is right there. It is non-transdermal, no chemicals, no drugs. And this activates, it works in such an incredible way. What it does is it reflects our own light and energy back into the system, sends information to the pineal gland, which is the doorway to the divine. And the brain then tells the body how to heal itself, depending on what patch you are using. And each one of them has been designed as a system, a wellness system to help support the flow of energy. When you support the flow of energy in the body, you support everything about the healing of the body, right? So obviously Alyssa just discovered this a few months ago, and she's using it. And I must say that it has been a game changer for me, for my husband. I just heard an interview, by the way, of a guy, Nathan Harrington, who was speaking about, he just learned about these patches in February. And he said he was suicidal. And he'd been in so much pain. He was taking 14 drugs, antipsychotic, pain relief, loads of doctors. No one could help him mentally, emotionally, or physically. And he discovered the patches. He said, I wear a symphony of patches. He wears them all. And he said within 4 months, he was completely in 4 months, he was pain-free. In 8, he no longer has any medication happening. And he started patching up his father, who had the worst kind of lymphoma cancer and had been suffering with it for 7 years. And he'd had chemo on and off. And of course, he was just out of chemo completely. And he patched his father up. And after 6 months, he went to the oncologist, and the oncologist took his blood and came back and said, I don't know what you're doing, but we can't find any cancer markers whatsoever in your blood right now.
Wow.
And that was 6 months of patching. And then his mother had such chronic, shocking arthritic problem. And he went out, he patched her up, and he went out, and there she was in the garden lifting 40-pound sacks of stuff to put on the garden. And he said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm doing this because I can. I'm like, and I thought, so what happens when you find a technology like this? It gives you back a quality of life. It gives you back a sense of joy and hope. And so obviously I haven't stopped doing the work that I do, which is the quantum neutrality process. I'm still doing that. But believe me, all of my private clients, everybody, they're all using these. And what I love is the chiropractor. I should have known that you would have them, Matt. The chiropractors, acupuncturists, all of the wellness people that I know who are using these are having the most amazing results with their clients, because they're using the hypnotherapy, they're using whatever it is they use, their healing modality. And then in between that, they have their people wear the patches in between each session. And the people come back and go, wow, it's like activating the body to such a degree. It's like, my husband, knowing I was coming on this call, sent me this. He said, 90% of our current health is controlled by the environment in which we bathe our genes. And by the way, these activate over 1/3 of your genes back to a younger, healthier, stronger state, which I can attest to, because I've just turned 70, and everybody's saying to me, have you just had a facelift during COVID? Or like, what's happened? And I go, no, stem cells, baby. And which I'm not allowed to say anymore, but we're here. You guys understand what's going on there, don't you? And it says, we bathe ourselves in the food we eat, our exercise, our resilience to stress, our in the face of stress, and our exposure to environmental toxins, electric cars, EMFs, everything like that. And so this system that this scientist has created is helping the human body to adapt to all of that and become stronger. So what you could really call it is a support system to get neutral, to adapt, and to live a longer, stronger, healthier life. And I know in their clinical studies, they proved so many things, and very, very exciting. So if you're interested in this system, to add it to what you're already doing, your beautiful level of expertise, please contact Alyssa, because she will give you a link and information. And this is an exciting new technology that is going to help us take control of our own health and well-being in a way that Big Pharma does not want us to.
Well, thank you so much for that, Sandra. And I appreciate the, sending them my way. That's very generous of you. I'm a new distributor for that. So thank you. And I think it's so fascinating that, I think there's like 88,000, is that right? Studies on these patches?
No, what there is 140
okay.
patents, by the way. Do you know what it costs and takes to get a patent on anything? You have to know. They got the patent office gave Lifewave and David a patent for the X39 patch, because in 11 months, which scientists will tell you that's pretty unheard of. And that's because they could prove that there was an elevation of copper peptide within the bloodstream immediately. And I call copper peptide, by the way, the fountain of youth, because copper peptide elevates, the elevation of copper peptide elongates our telomeres and wakes up the old stem cells and say, hey, hang on, wake up, you've got work to do. And it creates new stem cells. Now, all of that I'm not allowed to tell you. However, that is in the patent office.
Yes.
And of course, they have 80 clinical studies. These are placebo, double-blind, gold standard clinical studies done by outside scientists, doctors, and hospitals and universities to actually prove that this system supports the body in the way that LifeWave says it does.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, because not many products can claim that.
Well, hardly any. I mean, if you think about it, if it's not, I had somebody wanting to sell me something, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and I said, where's the science? And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, where's the science, right? Where, if it's not like hypnotherapy or the quantum neutrality process, if it's not like what we're doing, and it's a product, where's the science that proves that they've done the studies to prove? And she said, no, there isn't any. And by the way, that company went under within 3 months.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that person was really excited that I asked her that question, because I think when we need to be able to be trusted, right? We have what's the word I'm looking for? I need another X39, obviously. We need to be in a place that whatever we are saying is without question, right? We need to be able to do this, because especially as spiritually evolved beings that we are, if we can't tell the truth, if we can't support people in our own modalities, they're going to start thinking that all wellness products are woo-woo, or they don't work, or the people in our industry, don't know what we're saying. And we have to live up to our end of this, and we have to make sure that anybody in this industry, regardless of what we're doing, is of the highest caliber. So thank you for being here, everybody, at that caliber.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. All right, let's go to Xenia. You staying awake, girl?
Absolutely.
Good.
Amazing conversations happening here.
Yes, for sure. So tell us a little bit about how you got, I know you have a background in engineering, or for software engineering, but how did you transfer and get into doing the rapid transformation and that whole shift in what you're doing now?
Well, thank you so much for asking. My journey began a bit more than 3 years ago, when the chaos in the world was unleashed, and my first reaction was that we're gonna die, everyone we know is gonna die. It was the first reaction of panic, and I realized that if I were to die, I would be leaving this planet with so much regret, because I wasn't on my path. And maybe on paper I had a great resume and a great career, but it had no meaning, and I wasn't creating impact the way I wanted to. And so what happened was that the first lockdown, I started looking into things and came across Marisa Peer. She's the founder of the Rapid Transformational Therapy. I was intrigued by how the mind works and fascinated by how little we know. And so I signed up for just out of curiosity, to be honest. But during the process, I realized, seeing the impact on me and seeing the impact I can create on others based on practicing on each other with classmates, then it was just amazing. I thought, what if I can bring this to people, help educate them on how the mind works, help, get them to embrace hypnotherapy because it's one of the safest modalities, regardless of what the media portrays. And what if people have a way to resolve and overcome trauma and fears and addictions and depression and the daily stuff like fear of rejection, fear of failure. It's all a pattern created at some point in our lives, and we just keep repeating it without even knowing it. So what if we raised awareness and looked deep within? So that's pretty much my journey. I was inspired by the impact I could have as a practitioner and made it my life's mission.
That's awesome. Super exciting and just amazing that, you did go from one field that was, completely different. And now you're doing something that you're passionate about and that, obviously you're helping other people, making a difference in the world. And like you said, you're not going to get to the end of your life and realize that you didn't do the things that you wanted to do in life and make that impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so obviously, it's really cool that each one of you here can work virtually with your clients, it sounds like. Is that correct, Sandra? You work virtually too? Yeah. So, obviously Dr. Matt, part of that is in person, but, sounds like 40% is virtual. And so just tell me a little bit more about, what a typical session might look like for, RTT and, yeah.
So first we have a discussion, we call it a discovery session, and it's about getting the history, asking about the childhood, family dynamics, but more importantly, the issue the individual identifies with or comes in with. Because in hypnotherapy, we consider everything a symptom. And that's why we use it to go to the root. And more often than not, people identify with the symptom because the root, they're not aware of the root. So everything I mentioned before, from addiction to depression, from fears, relationship issues, more often than not, even health issues, are just symptoms of an underlying belief. And we dig into how that is affecting their daily life. And we also ask them to tell us what their life looks like without the issue, because we will create a recording for them, and it's important that we use their own words instead of us making it up. And so that's one session of 1 hour. And then within the next few days, we have the actual hypnotherapy session, the RTT session, which takes about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. People are fully aware, fully alert, in full control of what they're sharing, and they remember everything afterwards. It's hypnosis in the way I use it just means accessing different brain waves, for which the brain is already familiar with. It's the brain waves the mind taps into as soon as we wake up and just before bed and during the day without us being aware. So it's something we are familiar with, and there is no reason to fear. On the contrary, because the subconscious cannot lie, it responds with scenes, images, and emotions. That's the most honest conversation we get to have with ourselves during hypnosis.
Fascinating. Yeah. I actually have had a session of RTT before, so I know a little bit about what you're, or actually quite a bit about what you're talking about. And like you said, using our words, our own words, to create the outcomes that we're looking for, and fashion our future and create that reality. And thank you. Was there something else you're gonna say?
Yeah, I just wanted to add the reason that it's so powerful is that it doesn't stay to the symptom level, it goes to the roots. and therefore it resolves the issue from like what happened that causes the personality to express itself through the symptom. And it's based on the fact that usually as children, we are not able to discern what's real. We have no critical thinking, ability to question things, no contrast. And so most of the things that are happening around us, we distort by definition. That can lead to destructive behaviors in the future. And we're not even aware of that. Or it can be the projection of the limitations of the people surrounding us, of course. So during hypnosis, what the individual has the opportunity to realize is that it's not them. It's not like there's nothing wrong with them. It's a distorted perception they adopted and never reevaluated. Or it's the projection of someone else onto them, and they get to choose and create their own life and beliefs.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Cindy. Yep.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so exciting to hear everybody's stories. It's just like I just want to know more about everybody.
Absolutely. Well, we would love to hear more about your story. We know that you have, you're a medical doctor, and I know that you work at least part-time still, maybe full-time, in a hospital. And I believe you're also the director of a hospital as well. But what is your real passion? I know that you're wanting to shift a little bit more away from that, and you've got some exciting things that you're working on or have been working on for quite some time now.
Yeah, thank you. So you got most of that right, but I'm not a director of a hospital, so I can't claim that. But I've been a hospitalist for 17 years. So I've been a board certified internal medicine physician for 25 years now. The last 17, I've been working at a hospital-based practice. And golly, I'm 54 years old now. It probably happened. I started noticing the awareness probably when I was about 45 years old. But I kept seeing these patterns of patients that would come into the hospital and just so similar to what everybody else on the panel has talked about this afternoon. But I just kept noticing these same people are coming. We've called them frequent flyers. We get to know their kids' names, their dogs' names. I'm like, we're not healing anybody. They are coming to us every month, every 2 months, every 6 months. And then like as my 17-year career in that particular branch of medicine kept going on, you guys, I started noticing after they're stuck in the revolving door and we're just pouring these medicines down their veins to treat their symptoms, then we start offering surgeries and cutting off bits of their bodies. And I said, I can't handle this anymore. So I retired. I do still help out in my community and a couple of small mountain communities in the North Georgia mountains a few days a month. But it became really aware and apparent, especially when COVID hit. I just can't keep doing this anymore. I'm not healing anybody. And in fact, I'm kind of sticking them into the revolving door and making sure they're in there, because now they're dealing with side effects of medicines, and now they have cancer, and now they're getting amputations for peripheral vascular disease. And it was so unaligned with me, Alyssa, I couldn't do it anymore. So I started on my own healing journey, and I realized there was this thing that was in my heart to help people become resilient. Like I've been resilient my whole life. I was brought up in a blue-collar family. Alcoholism was in my family. A lot of sexual mistreatment, drugs. I don't want to say poverty, but just, an example, if we wanted to feed our whole family hamburgers for the night, my mom could only take 1 little pound of hamburger meat and then multiple sleeves of saltine crackers just to be able to feed her family. And I said, I will not. It started this resiliency in me from the time I was 14. And I went on to get I was the only person in my family to go to college. And then I got 2 doctorate degrees. And I said, I could teach this to other people. And so a really good friend of mine, actually at her house right now, Renalini, she's a physician, and she was helping me really uncover some things that were holding me back, because it was taking a really long time for me to open up my mouth and offer some of my skills to other people. I was so into the white coat and the badge and the stethoscope and the title. And I don't know why people in America revere doctors and lawyers so much. I really don't get it. I don't think the way I'm healing, I'm not healing people. I want to stop being a physician and start becoming a healer, right? And so, long story short, I found a healer that helped me rid my reticular activating system of all these effects of the childhood sexual trauma I had undergone, and then I became certified in the method. It's called Trauma Healing Method, and we kind of like Xenia, we have a history appointment. We go through every really strong influence in a person's life, because our subconscious mind is just here to keep us alive, and everything that's in our life, it gets deleted and distorted and generalized, and we're literally not even living a real life. And it breaks my heart that few days a month I'm up there in that hospital to hear what these repeat, these patterns on repeat that people are telling themselves all the time. And there's everybody in the medical system is just really full of the victim mentality. And so I just help men and women in the second halves of their lives just get rid of all that trauma. We do it through semi-meditative states too, just like what Xenia was talking about. But then I've developed this thing called a Soul Circle Academy. And then I have this continuity integration relationship with these men and women all over the country. And we just kind of deal with stuff that comes into our daily lives, and we just help each other. After we have regulated gestalts in our reticular activating system, we're able to get mad, and then we know that the fear, like what Dr. Matt said, it's there to teach you something. It's there to teach you the fear, the anger, the sadness, to speak up for yourself, to put a boundary up, and it's just so much more fulfilling than medicine ever was. And I'm just so excited to see where all this leads me.
That's awesome. Yes, I feel so lucky, so blessed to be a part of and know each of you that are making such a deep impact in the world and making a difference in people's lives. It's like you all know the physical effects and not only physical, but relationally, all the effects that it has on our bodies, our families, how that it just seeps into every area of our life. And, no matter if you try to ignore it and stuff it down and, wish it away, unfortunately, that doesn't happen. The trauma stays in the body and has to be released one way or the other. So super grateful for what you're doing.
Yeah, the body keeps the score. And if you don't realize there's an emotional trigger or some buried trauma in there that's just leading you down this dead end road, then, you just aren't really even able to get true healing. So I'm just so excited for everybody in the world right now that all of us are privy to be sharing this beautiful earth with, that we can lead everybody to a whole new level of healing.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Agreed. And we are coming up on an hour here, so we might go a few minutes over if everybody's okay with that. We just have a few more questions. And Dr. Matt, I will start with you. If you could just tell us what your ideal client looks like, or clients. Obviously, we know you do a couple different things.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to acknowledge every one of you. Dr. Cindy, to hear your story, the trajectory that you were on and are on, is just, it's remarkable. Xenia, the same, to change trajectories and to shift into what feels like, to borrow your word, Alyssa, is on purpose. To find your purpose is beautiful. And Dame Sandra, it is an honor, truly. So wonderful to hear you speak. So my ideal avatar, I've been doing kinesiology and I've had patients refer to me as a voodoo doctor, and that's an affectionate term. So I know what they mean, but doing voodoo is something I don't advertise doing necessarily. But throughout the years, I found a container where I could put, the principles I found by exploring on the edges of just by asking the question, what else is possible? And so longevity is this container that now people know what longevity is. And so I can speak into that. And so an ideal avatar truly is somebody who's, age 40 to 65, who's, successful running their own business, or, generally doesn't have time to go to their normal general practitioner, and they want more. Even though they might have a general practitioner, they want more. And so be able to dig deeper and to support these individuals. And ultimately it's optimizing their life, which when that ripple effect from that optimization then flows out through their businesses, to their family, to their communities, and beyond. And so that's an ideal avatar. I started out as a sports chiropractor and still love working with athletes. And so it's the other side of the spectrum, but working with these teenagers and helping them find their potential. It is a darn shame when an injury stops their progression and they have to retire early from whatever sport it is that they play. It's always the question of what could have been. And so, that's another passion of mine. I was a young athlete. I treated all my injuries the wrong ways just by not knowing what to do with them, and pushed through a lot of things. And so it's a privilege to work with these athletes and just speak truth into these injuries and give them confidence in their body's ability to heal. And it's certainly, we come at it from a different perspective than most physical therapists or chiropractors or orthopedics. So it's also as teaching the parents. So, we don't know what we don't know. And so someone has a sprained ankle or sprained knee, and now it's like, okay, it's just 6 weeks of rest and maybe it'll be better. And I want to speak into that and teach them that there's so much more that can be done, and we can accelerate this healing. And it doesn't have to look like 6 weeks of just waiting.
Absolutely. Well, how can people find you? I know you've given me a list, and I will send that out to all of you, all the contact info. But for those in our audience and those that will be listening to this on the replay, what's the best
Wonderful.
way?
Thank you. So I'm on some social media platforms, Matthew Ormond on Facebook, dr.matthew.o on Instagram. There's an app called Good Self, which is, so I'm Dr. Matt Ormond on Good Self. And then my number, you can contact me directly, 714-317-3138. It is my privilege to connect. It's my privilege to serve. So I'm happy to receive any direct message or any call.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Sandra, what would be your ideal client?
Yeah, I've got a few, but naturally I really feel like I was just going to say my ideal client is somebody who's suffering and in pain. And so there's a lot of ideal clients out there, right? My ideal client is somebody, probably, I love what Matt said, 40 up, who they've got to the stage where they're going, hang on a minute, there's more, there's got to be more. What is it? They're curious. They want to know how they work. They're ready to do the inner work. And then they're curious about trying something that they haven't tried before, right, with the patch system. And so they're in pain. They want to live younger, longer, stronger. And they know there is a way. And believe me, the surprise that they get, even though I know a lot of people, they're so intelligent, like we all know everything really, but there's men and women who have gone into this place where they go, come on, there's more to life. There's more to this system that I'm being told is real. Like Dr. Cindy, like I have to tell you, oh my God, I'm in awe of you, a doctor who's doing the switch and coming, and I definitely need you to call Alyssa about this, because you're going to add this to everything you're doing. So, but the fact is that my ideal client is somebody who's intelligent, they're smart, they know there's more, they're willing to try, they're willing to go into to delve deep into their unconscious. They're willing to invest in themselves and their health and well-being. So I would just say to everybody watching, if you're willing to invest in yourself, and you probably are in so many other levels, but the most important level is your health, well-being, and longevity. So if you're willing to take the leap and do what it takes to get neutral, to stop being triggered, to make sure your environment supports the energy flow and health and well-being, you are going to have a really wonderful life. and bring the joy, a level of joy back that nobody else is going to be able to destroy, no matter who it is.
Amazing. And, you know, I would never have guessed that you said you just turned 70.
Yes.
I mean, you look absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, again, you know, this system has changed everything for me. I would be sitting here in a wheelchair looking not, you know, I wouldn't have this light pouring out of me. And this light is what keeps us young and healthy and strong. Yeah. And Dr. Matt, what I wish that you were in Marina Del Rey or Santa Monica and not Orange County, because you would be my chiropractor of choice.
Oh, I'd love to. I'll be in Huntington Beach this weekend. I'd love to connect at some point soon.
Yeah.
I go there once a month, but we'll connect offline. I'd love that.
Yeah, great. And like Dr. Matt, you can find me at Sandra Biskind .com, which is SANDRA Biskind BISKIND.com, and my phone number is 310-658-8406. Please text me only, because I get so many phone calls. But if you text me and say that you've been on the On Purpose show, I will get back to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sandra. There's so many things that, you know, I wanted to, you know, feedback I could say to each one of you that would, you know, I'd be here for another hour, but I just, from the bottom of my heart, am so grateful for everything that you're doing. And thank you for sharing your work with us. So let's go to Xenia. What does your ideal client look like?
For me, I would say it's people who have a basic understanding on how the mind works, and therefore they know that for the biggest part it's hidden, they are unaware of it, and they have the curiosity or interest or maybe pain that encourages them to look deeper, to finally find out and raise their awareness and reevaluate things and redefine things. And yeah, whether it's pain or whether, you know, they're successful and healthy, but they know that for the next step they need to get some blocks resolved. As long as they are willing to look deep within, take responsibility, and have the curiosity to do what it takes. And like others, my contact details are either my website, lifecoachingbyxenia.com, or I'm also on Facebook, Xenia Economidou, as my name is written. And my email is Xenia Eco, it's my first name and ECO, the first letters of my surname, @gmail.com. That's the best and fastest way to get back to anyone who wishes to continue this conversation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Xenia.
Thank you.
Dr. Cindy, if you have an ideal client, what do they look like?
Yes, I would say my ideal client, I've had clients from 35 to 85 years old, and my tagline is men and women in the second halves of their lives. I really don't have an age limit. It's just people that know that something is holding them back and they do not know what it is. They have tried everything. I love helping people that have been to a lot of psychologists, read a lot of books, taken a lot of courses, and all of those are just dealing with the conscious mind. And if you really want to just tap into the power that's running 95% of the show anyway. And then I think I bring a unique perspective to the client relationship because of my almost 30 years in bedside medicine. And, you know, just anybody wanting more out of their life. And like Sandra said, people that are not afraid of doing the work and are not afraid of investing in themselves, because you know, when you're on that hospital bed and you've had a stroke, or you've, you know, had the divorce, or you're not getting where you want to go in life, it doesn't matter, you know, how much money you have, how much status you have, you got to get right with yourself so that you can give that best part of your life out there. for everybody else, because we're all given this wonderful opportunity to be alive right here, right now with the people all around us. And it is just such a shame when things aren't working the way that they want them to in your life. But and I think the best way to contact me, really, I mean, of course, everybody can leave me messages on my website. Is therealdrcindy.com. But my social media I'm on more than anything is Facebook, and I'm Cindy Starke, just like my name is spelled there.
And therealdrcindy.com, is it the Real Doctor DR, or is it spelled out?
My amazing website designer made it whether you spell it out DOCTOR or whether you just write DR, it goes to the same one. But I always just say DR. Yeah, she made it because she knew people would probably spell it both ways. So either way.
Perfect.
So will you send us each other's information?
Yes.
Yeah, and my email address too, because I'd love to stay in touch with these beautiful people.
Absolutely.
Yes, same.
You'll be sending that out shortly, so keep your eyes open in your inbox. Martha, what say you?
Oh my gosh, is what I'll say. I am in nowhere near the field or area of all of your expertise, but every single time, Alyssa, I'm so thankful for you, because if it wasn't for you, I'm not in this position to learn and to hear what incredible humans like yourselves are doing in the world, and how much you're impacting and helping so many people. I mean, so many people. And I don't just think about myself, but I just picture like my parents, my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents. You know, I think of all of them whenever I hear stories like that. So it is so amazing to hear from every single one of you, and not only to hear, but to learn. And I'm excited for, you know, what's to come in the future after this, and all the beautiful connections and relationships. So thank you again. I do have one question before we head out. I would love to ask Xenia, if someone was like, hey, Xenia, you know, there's this On Purpose show. What is it about? Like, would you be a part of it? Would you not? What would you share? And what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. It's a great place to meet wonderful people and practitioners, and to talk about what you're passionate about. So my answer would be heck yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Xenia, for that.
I just want to say before we go, you have been there listening to each one of us, and your aura is white and pale blue, and it's pouring out of you. And I'm like, honestly, I don't mean to be staring, but I'm just looking at the light pouring out of you, and it is really beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And I feel that for you as well, and everyone here. I feel like this is such a space to be, and I wish everyone feels the way I feel right now. So thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And Sandra, what about yourself? You know, what are your thoughts about being on this show? And just if you could share your thoughts to anyone else that would be curious enough to join, what would you say?
I would say you definitely have to say yes and have the opportunity not only to tell your story, but to also meet other like-minded people. Because for me, being in a networking company like LifeWave, I've come to understand that love, support, and collaboration are three of the most important aspects of any business. And we've just loved and supported and collaborated with each other here on the highest level. So thank you, everybody. So I would say, come and do that.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate that. Dr. Cindy, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is my first time being invited to this kind of a forum, and I just really feel honored to be on this panel with these beautiful people that are on the same mission I'm on. And it makes me feel so not alone, because when you're in the four walls of the hospital, it doesn't seem like anybody wants to do anything except for what goes on right there. And so it's just really broadened my mind and my just my bandwidth of what all kind of healing is out there. And I would tell everyone to join it, because you will see other healing methods that you can do yourself, and just get to meet like-minded individuals and just make your mind expanded even that much more.
Incredible. We have such an amazing group, Alyssa. I'm like, this is honestly just so amazing. Thank you, Dr. Cindy, for that. Dr. Matt, what are your thoughts? What is anything you'd like to share?
Thank you. So my thoughts in this response to that question of, should I join On Purpose in future podcasts? And absolutely, something I love to do. I've not met a practitioner that I don't like. It is so fun for me to learn from other practitioners from various disciplines. And what I find is where these concepts overlap, my gift, maybe my blessing, is I can look at these places where the concepts overlap and find principles there. And so I've heard common principles spoken from each one of you today. And so it's caused great learning inside of me. And I'm so grateful for that. And what's beautiful to this mission, right? We're on this mission to help relieve human suffering. And this mission, this vision was given to me long ago, that I know I'm not alone in this. And it's just a matter of locking arms with like-minded people. And together, we can truly cause a massive positive impact on the world. And so truly, join this community, join in the conversation, and let's just keep growing our community together.
Beautiful.
Beautiful closing. So amazing. And thank you, Dr. Matt. You could go ahead.
Thank you so much, each one of you, for being here and taking the time. I'm so grateful for each one of you. And we will, again, send those contacts out. And I did want to just read 2 comments from our wonderful people in the audience. Cremina said, "Thank you all, beautiful souls, and what a beautiful call." So thank you, Cremina, and we appreciate you tuning in and sharing with us today. So with that, we will say goodbye and let you all go.
Yes, please expect an email out of everyone's contact information. We will send that out as soon as the call ends. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Fun.
Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you.
It was. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.